Well, hey everybody, it's HeapCVA. How you doing? Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming by. Welcome to another episode of EmergeNYC on my channel. Here we are on the home screen on 0.4.5b, and I'm sitting here literally twiddling my thumbs because honestly, on the single player side of things, there's nothing more, no more info, no more pictures, no more anything that I can show you that you haven't seen in a previous video. And this is video 23 in the series. And I don't have it in me to just keep throwing the same thing out over and over again. It's just not the way I believe things are done. And honestly, when I look at the number of comments or thumbs up or thumbs down and that stuff in a given video, I can tell where that that particular video or the channel in general or the playlist or whatever, I can tell where it's going based on that stuff. And honestly, mine's starting to hit, it had gone over the top, starting to go on down the other side. And why not? What's really going on in this demo right now? Well, on the single player side, not a whole lot. Looking at this news thing on the home screen, you can see the third person gameplay, but it was only for multiplayer. So single players, even though it would be doing the same thing, literally doing the same thing, except there wouldn't be multiple people doing it, we didn't get anything. There might have been some bug fixes that came across that single players got to take advantage of, but other than that, nada, not a thing. So I have to do something that you guys have been telling me to do for quite a while, and that was check out multiplayer. And why it's in my mind now is because of the third person gameplay that we cannot get on single player. I'd love to say that's not true, but it is. And so I have to go into that venue. Excuse me, I've been talking way too much today. To see what we can do that adds another layer onto what we already have, or quite honestly, it's time to move on to something else until some new content comes into the demo, and some new content comes on my channel, to be honest with you, for EmergeNYC, if anything else. Now, I have two monitors, you know. So on the monitor on the right, I have the EmergeNYC Steam forum page up, and I'm on the tab for news. So I'm looking to see if anything's going on. I've been checking every day for 5 days. Nothing. They're talking about working on the academy again. Okay, you know, I guess I could get all bent out of shape, but guys, I guess we have to look at least they're working on it. Would I like them to get some of the simple things fixed first and then move on to the more complex? Yeah, but I'm not running the show at FlipSwitch. And even though other people might be helping them pay their bills because it's the buyer or the investor that kind of got this thing rolling in the first place, they're still driving the bus. You're just riding in the back. So let's quit complaining because it's not doing any good. I could spend hours doing it, but it's not going to change a thing for me or for you guys right this minute on the 21st of August. We're going to have to be patient because there's no other alternatives. I mean, you could pull out altogether, you know, delete this thing off your computer and walk away, or you can just find other things to do in the interim. So my thing to do in the interim is to go into multiplayer. So let's click on it right now. And it's going to load up. And I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Some of you that don't have the demo wouldn't know what this looks like. But this is an opportunity, and I read it on the forums, and it was a great idea, but I had put it off for a while, of where a single player that doesn't have the content that the multiplayer side does can go in, host a room, put a password on it, and treat it as a single player type of deal. So we're gonna, I don't need to do this stuff here. I'm just gonna hit continue. This brings up the server browser. And so right now there's one room. Each game has its own name for things. And there's one person in that room. And it keeps searching, but it's not seeing much. Well, that's great. And I would guess that this particular server browser is talking about the East Coast of the United States. I'm not on the East Coast, so my process is to hit the select server, look at USA West, yay, click select. Now it's going to look. And if I wait a second, because sometimes it'll show you the East Coast and then go to the West Coast, now I'm hoping we're in a West Coast server. Only because connectivity in multiplayer is a big deal. So you want to be as close to the internet connection as you can, right? So here we are. So I'm going to host a room. I can click that. I get a room number. It's almost like going to a hotel. And I'm going to type this. I don't mean to have the caps on. That's like yelling, right? This, where it says room, that's a password. And once I create a password for this room, nobody can get in without the password. So as soon as you put this lock on this door of this room, if you could connect the dots with that comment, you don't get a bunch of people signing in, especially if you had done strangers instead of friends, who maybe everybody's trying to steal everybody's fire rig. And I know they're doing some stuff to keep that from happening. But I mean, when you're first trying to figure out how multiplayer works, it's a lot easier to do it on your own than it is to have a bunch of people that probably already know, kind of leave you in the dust, if you will. And there's the other groups that are already, formed into mini electronic fire departments that are doing their thing. So this is my workaround for right now, because there's nothing else in single player to do. So I'm hosting a room. I put a password on it. And now we just hit create room. And we get to what I call a lobby. And this is from my days in Call of Duty. And this is where you sit and wait until the room is opened. And in Call of Duty, that's when the gameplay and the map that was being chosen would start. And so you could chat out here and find out who else is in your lobby and stuff. But we don't have that issue, so we don't have to look at it. So I can just hit start room, and boom, this big screen comes up. And you might have saw a flash of it a little bit earlier. But you're reading this. It's for your enjoyment or whatever. And what it's doing is it's covering the work that's being done in the background to get your room created that you're hosting and get everything synchronized so that you can play this demo through the system versus just locally on your computer in your house. And so it does take a couple of minutes sometimes. I've been in the minute to 2 minute range. And I'm connecting to San Jose. I can't imagine what it would be like to connect to somewhere in Europe. And that's happened to us in Call of Duty. It depends on how many people are out and about looking to do this stuff. That didn't take too long. But I don't know, and you guys need to tell me, does it sound like the street noise is really loud to you right now at 100%? Because to me, it is. I have headphones on, and it's blowing my eardrums out. So if you don't mind, I'm going to turn the sound down for right now, because that's not what we're going to look at here. I'm not going to worry about additional map details for right now. It's not going to affect us. And I'm going to close the unit toggle. So here we are in a very familiar place. But you notice the buttons up top are slightly different. The F1 is the same. That's the mobile data terminal where you get your incidents from. F2 is the screen so that you can pick a unit and a rule, which should say position, but I'm not building it, so what can I tell you? And there's my guest name, and it can be assigned to any place. F3 is still for police vehicles that can be modified, has nothing to do with the fire side. F4 is texting. If you don't have like TeamSpeak or some of those where you can talk via headset. And F5 won't come up until we have a character on the screen. And F6 brings up the unit toggle once again. So that's what's available to us in multiplayer right this minute. So I'm in here. I was a little nervous the first time I came in here. I don't know why. Nobody's going to sneak in on me and, take over the place. But I was trying to figure out what can I do. So my first thought was get a rig onto the screen because that makes the most sense, right? So let's get 30 and get it started because it takes the first unit that you call to the map is going to take the longest. At least in my experience for me in this demo is it stays blue until the unit is on the map. I kind of like that. That's a great deal. I don't know when that was really changed. I guess I haven't been paying attention. I know it is on the single player too. So I can't say that nothing has ever changed. It's just that, does that make it more playable or not? I'm kind of worried that I might be able to say no to that. So boom, here we are. Notice our frames per second is a little low, but I'm okay with that. Still over 60. So here we are, and I know that we're controlling the engine because the center mouse button, the scroll button, is no longer what moves you left to right. It's the right mouse button. So all we can do is zoom in and dance around the engine, but we can't do anything else. And I keep clicking that door because, man, it not only do you move left and right or up and down with the right mouse button, but it also opens the doors to the fire stations. There's a problem there somewhere. So anyway, do I have control of the unit? Yes, it's steerable, so I actually have control of the fire apparatus. So it needs a driver, doesn't it? So my first thought was we need to start getting people on the rig. Now notice we're hearing a call, but we're not seeing it. I wonder if they've added, and I don't see anything that says one way or another, this background noise. Just that you're hearing other traffic on the same radio channel that's in a different district that you wouldn't normally be going to. Do you know what I mean? And that's why you don't get the MDT to pop up. So we're just going to ignore it. Although if I look, there is actually a call there. So I've seen a couple of other people talk about that they're not getting that MDT to pop up. So I've got to stop saying things like that apparently. Anyway, let's get back to this. We need to start staffing this apparatus. First guy you should probably get is somebody that can get the fire engine from point A to point B. It's called a driver in this particular demo. So here he is. So we're going to walk out to the apparatus room. Now, steering him with the cursor is a little bit of a challenge. They talked about fixing it. It needs to be tighter. It doesn't have to be up the guy's rear end. It just has to be closer. So if I go left or right, I don't have to go the entire width of my screen and then be too far away, and then it just doesn't seem to center appropriately. So this is where F5 finally works. If I open F5, I can choose a given outfit, and I'm going to put him in this for right now. And then we're going to, and they walk pretty slow. If you really want them to run, hold the shift key down and they'll run over. Because I want to get in the apparatus. So you hit the F key, it kicks you out of the firehouse for reasons that only they know. But do you see a problem here? It's not game breaking, but as soon as your character goes into the cab he disappears. Because if I hit the F key again, there he is. So, darn it. What's the deal? If I hit the V key, which changes the camera perspective, he's not in the seat, but yet I can start the apparatus and do the lights. And he is operating the vehicle. There's no cars coming. I got to pull out far enough. So we're out here. I'm going to turn the lights off because there's no reason to have them on. And then we're going to shut this off. If I get out of the cab, there he is. And yes, just like in single player where you don't have a character, these doors open and close. Just so you know. I don't need to open them all, but theoretically, you could create a thing where, you know, like he's checking this, he opens this compartment and checks the equipment in it. He closes it back up if he's good at it, you know, and he's checking his rig out for the day. You do know that you need some room around the back of the apparatus or they won't walk past. It looks like it has enough, but sometimes it will not do it. And the roll-ups do, if I can find my cursor, they'll go too. And if you want to jab the guy, he flinches when you jab him. Ah, ooh, ah, ooh. If you feel like it, okay? So anyway, we have a driver. That's great. Now, what about adding other people? So if we open F2 again, and I choose officer, notice that it took me off of driver, and behind the screen, my driver's no longer there. That told me a whole bunch, and I don't know why he starts on top of the table, but everybody to their own. We'll run him out here because if you walk, he takes too long. I'm not going to have control of the fire apparatus. You know, the captain's turning, but the fire apparatus is not. Now, he had the wrong helmet on last time I saw him, and he's got the wrong helmet on still. It should be a white shield on his helmet, and yesterday it was, today it's a black shield. Don't ask me where in the world that's coming from. It does tell me that there's something going on in the background that we're not aware of. But he isn't in charge, even if I have him get on the apparatus. And you'll notice if you zoom in, there he is sitting in his seat. If I hit the V key, there he is over there. I'm in seat 1, or I can be at seat 2. Seat 3 is behind him. You can barely see him. Seat 4 is the seat facing the other direction. 5, 6. There's plenty of places to sit. But nobody's going anywhere. So my dream of having a fully staffed engine, not going to work. Not the way that I thought it was going to work. And I'm kind of bummed, but it is what it is, you know? I don't think anybody else was doing it. That's why it's called multiplayer, not single player, right? So if we go back to F2 and I go back to driver, hopefully that it puts this back to nobody. You need that so that when you choose driver and you choose the name, you get the driver back so that you can operate the apparatus. If not, you're never going to get control of engine 30 again. So he rushes out. We'll get him in a different uniform. He's going to get out here, get on the rig. Now notice he's invisible, which is fine, I guess. We're going to fire up the rig. Notice it does start. It is pretty noisy. So what I have to do is do this and then do this. Or it causes me to start yelling over the top. And it makes me sound weird on the video when I'm talking over everything. So what are we going to do? What if I can't do that, what else can I do? Well, this is very much like single player here. Is let's say we're going to go to an incident at the end of the street here. And so we go ahead and we pull out There's no traffic, so I don't have to worry about getting anybody's way. And let's say we're going to stop at the barber's pole. And there's a fire there. So he goes a little past, he stops, and he gets out of his rig to be here. He's standing here. He's going to get ready. He's going to look. There's the barber pole right there. He may not have pulled up enough, but that's his choice, not mine. You can get him in different gear. Now that he's ready to go, we're going to open some doors if it'll let me. He has to be in just the right spot for the right click to do what you want it to do. And so let's say he's right here and he's going to start working on getting water feeds and supply so that we can, it's a pretty short building, so we can get that going. So okay, that's a little bit different because instead of single player where there's no body there, at least you got to do that and see it. However, we need a ladder truck, right? So we go to here and we choose 75. Won't take too long, which is good, but I'm going to keep that closed. I go to F2, go to 75, choose a driver, which is me. Come on, there he is. I'm going to change his gear. And we'll get him to hustle out here. Get into cab. Now, if I go to V, he is actually sitting in the seat. Yay! I can open the door through the windshield. That's good. Start the vehicle? No. Why not? I don't know. But I and J work. So there's something else that's kind of goofy, but I'll take what I can get. So I'm going to drive this fire apparatus to the fire in the other view because it's easier to spot a longer vehicle like this. So let's pull out. And I pulled out way too far. So, because I need to look and see where it makes the sense to get the truck out. So he's going to go right here. He's going to stop, set the brake. And now you think, well, it's time to get out and set up the rig. Don't do that. I know we're in multiplayer. I get what you're thinking. They haven't enabled the driver to operate the turntable, which is where the ladder sits, from the outside. It's not working yet. When the update 4 or 5 comes out, maybe it'll be different. Right now, you cannot do that. You've got to do it just like in single player by hitting the G key. All of a sudden, see, I'm on the turntable. I can raise the ladder, which is fine. We'll get this up, and hopefully I won't mess it up too bad. It's not a very tall building, so it's not a whole bunch there. Do E. I like to go where I see it kind of go through the roof a little bit and then raise it up. Then I think I'm doing pretty good. So it is set up. I didn't set those. Whoops. You didn't see that, right? Didn't see it. You didn't even know. But it's okay. I was so busy getting the ladder up, I forgot everything else. So everything looks pretty good. Now, here's one of the things that kind of scares me every once in a while, and it happened to me in the last time I tried to make the video. You have to push the G key again. If you don't, when you get your driver out of the cab, if you move him at all, it moves the ladder as well. It'll try to drive the fire apparatus. Not what you want to do, right? So I got to hit G, which is going to make the unit jump. See, you saw it kind of rock a little bit. But now, if I'm still sitting in a cab, which wouldn't be where I'd be in real life, hit the F key, and there's my guy somewheres. You got to get him away a little bit. He's too close. There needs to be an ability to zoom in and out. So here he is, and he's actually able to do a couple things if I can get him to rotate. I want these compartment doors open. Come on. That's the one thing about the control of them right now, is I've got every door open except the one I want. And so anyway, so he's here doing his thing. So you could simulate that a little bit, which is all we can do really. But you notice you lost the engineer or the driver off the, and look at the truck. It just kind of jumps up and down. It's floating a little bit in the back. What is the deal? And as we look at the look at the thing jump up and down. Have we not been seeing that for, I don't know, a couple of months? And I'm being nice about it. Notice how much this thing is walking across the street. And it's actually off the ground. And it's just one of those things. You notice how crooked it is? The one jack is buried in the ground. That is weird. But it is what it is. But anyway, you can get him to kind of check this out. And not a bad view, so to speak. Not great. I mean, it really messed up the spot of my ladder. And I'm kind of disappointed in that. So we still need more apparatus, right? This isn't the entire thing. And so you're back to sort of what you were doing before. So we go to 78 because it's the next closest. And it draws it really quick. It's in there. I got to stop doing that. The problem is I've got to swivel, but I don't want to open the door. So here we are at 78. F2. 78. Driver. Me. Okay, guys here. And he can get on the rig. Come on, dude. Swing around. He's in there, honest. V. He is sitting in the cab. Can he start? Yes, he can. See, they don't all work. See, and I bump that. Where's the master? There we go. All right. Now, I got to hurry because I think the door was closing behind me. Yep, see, it closed behind me. I don't want that to happen, but it does anyway. So 78 is going to drive to the scene, and I'm going to cut away because you don't need to see this. And I'll finish up what I was talking about, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do maybe in a following video to this, okay? So let me cut away, and then I'll come back to you as we're approaching the incident. Okay, and as we round the corner, slowing down, there are other units parked. It's all good. We're going to pull over here. I go back to this view so that I get close enough but not getting in anybody's way. And if I get out of the cab, which we got to apparently spin around and do the whatever, I can H and J, put an air pack, air bottle, and a helmet on him, and now he's at the scene. Okay, that's not bad. But like I said, steering the character, kind of challenging. I want him to go back a little further. And so there he is standing there. If I can get this guy to be up here. Notice my ladder has moved some more. How's the truck is moving further to the left. It's actually not on the ground. Okay, but you get my point here, and I hope you get what I'm saying. So we're going to call it for this video. I just wanted to show you the little bit extra that I'm just trying to let myself do to bridge the gap while we wait and hope for an update soon. Because if we don't get one soon, it's going to make everybody kind of move on to something else for a while. I'm just saying that. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'd love to be wrong because then something good happens, and I'll be proud to be wrong because it kind of jinxed and made it work anyway. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's it for this. You know, it's just a glorified version of single player with the third player character, which I like. It's just they disappear every time you turn around. Steering them is an issue. You're zoomed in too close. You need to be able to zoom out from them. Maybe I'm missing a button somewhere. If you know of a zoom in or a zoom out, because, you know, my scroll button doesn't work, let me know in the comments. Really like to hear from you. Tell me your comments. Tell me your ideas. Tell me your thoughts. Do you own this? Are you waiting? I'd like to hear those things. Like to see them in the comments below. And that would be cool. And that'll save me from saying it later, so I can say thank you so much for coming by my channel. I really appreciate it. If I did a good job and you understand what I'm doing here, if you could leave me a thanks or a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. It tells me I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It makes sense. If I didn't do a good job or it didn't make any sense to you, thumbs down. I check every single one of those out. It gets me to look at every video I do to make sure that if I did something wrong, I don't repeat the mistake, if you know what I mean. Wherever you're on the planet, hope you're having a good day or a good evening. Hope everything's going your way. You know, and I know that I'll be making more videos for us to crash into each other with. I am moving into another house, so it's going to take a couple of days. So I hope by the end of the week, I'll have everything set up in the new house. That's another story for another day, but that may bump into everything else I'm doing. So please be patient. I appreciate it. Hope your week is starting off pretty good. I know today's Monday, at least where I'm at, and keep your fingers crossed the rest of the week turns out as good. Yeah, the weekend's a little ways away, but they always seem to come every 7 days or every 5 days, whether you want them or not. And I want them. So hope everything's going your way. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Take care.